Let's do some 10-minute chess for a change. 5 minutes just too fast for me right now. Alright, that guy is not playing. Let's see if we can get another game. Jobava London on the board. See how this person responds to Jobava London. See this knight c6 move. And this is one of the less legitimate approaches. And here, one move is knight b5 using the Jobava idea. And there's a line that goes bishop b4 check, c3, bishop a5. And that's fine. I want to go into that line. Let's see if my opponent can find bishop b4 and bishop a5, defending the pawn. Or if they just go with the direct bishop d6, which allows me to secure the bishop pair. Knight takes d6, e takes d6. I'm curious to see what my opponent finds here. No, just left the game. That's a shame. Very, very big shame. Because this is still very much playable for black. Maybe they thought that they couldn't stop this. Of course they can stop it. Always resources. You just have to look for them. And I think in this position, if black finds bishop b4, c3, bishop a5, defending that pawn, then we get this normal game with maybe e3 and knight f3, bishop b2, and let's take a look at that actually. d4, d5, knight c3, knight c6, bishop f4. Now, bishop f4 is the Jobava way of playing, although you can still do other moves like e4, d5. This is a kind of gambit I'm not familiar with, but Jobava way of playing, if you're a Jobava London player, play bishop f4, e6, and now knight b5 and bishop d6, and my idea was aiming for the bishop pair in this position. And it's a very interesting idea. But after knight b5, bishop b4 c3, bishop a5 e3, a6, and then knight to a3, knight f6, and knight f3, castles, bishop d3, you get another kind of position. This is more like a London system, except the knight's placed on the square. But you can simply reroute it back to d2, and after this and that, you have knight e5, where white has a nice London position, the strong knight in the center. So actually this is interesting. I don't have to go knight b5, and actually if I check the engine, it says that bishop d6, knight takes, c takes is actually quite okay for black because they have a huge pawn mass in the center. And if I go e3, they go e5, and they go like knight e7, bishop e2, bishop e6, castles, knight f5. They win back my bishop pair. and we just get an equal game. And c4 you can't take because d5, so there's a lot of tension in the center. Castles, rook c1, rook c8, and we get this kind of equal game. Rook e1, queen a5, and black just has a big center. Knight d2, b takes d4. Gets complicated. I don't know if I'd play knight d2. But in any case, it looks like practically black has the upper hand here. If I look at the position, black has more space and more active pieces slightly. So even though the computer says equal, I don't really like playing this as white. Let me see if I can even find a line that I enjoy playing here. With this pawn wedge in the middle, I don't really know if I enjoy. For example, knight d2 looks like it blunders a pawn. Knight d2 takes. And you have to find this move. Takes, takes. Bishop e6, knight c4. And somehow white is better here, even though black is up a pawn. But this is one line that's less practical in the opening repertoire, considering that you need to memorize a lot of lines. This position looks both hard to play, and the right moves involve sacrificing a pawn and not taking it back immediately, which can be difficult to memorize, so might not be the best. After e6, which is a very rare move, by the way, and most people here play bishop f5, which would have led into preparation e4 that I had. And a lot of people take this way, and they get hit with d5, and they go knight b4. After a3, knight a6, queen d4, knight f6, castles, and say they go g6. This is a dangerous position for black. After bishop b5, you can't go c6 because d takes c6 would really open up your position to the bishop. So bishop b5, bishop d7 must be played. And then you have the idea, as I mentioned in one of my previous Jobava videos, to take this knight, damaging the structure, and then take this pawn. This is a very nice line. That's part of my prep after bishop f5, e4. Now if they take with the bishop, you can do knight takes and also e5 and then c4 here. Knight a6, queen a4, and then you can just trade and you can castle. And you just get a relatively equal game. Knight f6, knight h3, h6, f3, and white has a bishop here. If black goes like this, white's pawn structure gets damaged a little bit. But in return, white has bishop here and can easily go rook g1, and you can study these positions to learn how to play this kind of structure. But e6 is a different beast than bishop f5, and I don't really have too much prep against e6 because it's not very common. Usually in blitz games before, I was playing knight b5, a lot of people played this, and I took, and I got this kind of position, or I think knight f3 is more accurate, but this kind of position, and it was just equal. And black was getting a big center, and I didn't really like that, so I think I should really change my prep up. Instead of knight b5, I think e3 makes sense. And say they go knight f6. There's fun ideas like queen f3. If they go bishop b4, I go knight e2. This could be something I could look into. And castle, like a castle here. And this is fun. It's offside castling. I have a queen on f3 that could participate in the attack. But also dangerous. Also dangerous. e5, I'm not sure I want to take that because then we get open files. g4, knight a5, they're already going knight c4. But this is exactly what a Jobava London player is looking for. So this kind of sharp asymmetrical position. g5, knight d7, a3, and say they go bishop d6. After takes knight f4, you get another crazy position. Even sacrificing a pawn here is just interesting. Even pushing the pawn is interesting. Knight b4, knight d3, queen a5, knight takes, and bishop d3, a6, and a bunch of insane tactics. I don't even want to look deeper here. This is just crazy. At least not in this YouTube video. It gets too deep. There's even a sacrifice. So queen f3 is a really fun option. If you're also a Jobava London player, you can consider playing this move and building your prep from here, but you can also play a more normal move like knight f3, which is more in alignment with opening principles, especially if you're a beginner, and it's also a practical and good move. Bishop d6, knight e5. This is a perfectly valid way to play. For castle, then you can go queen f3 with similar ideas. Castling here, just going g4, h4, just like in the standard Jobava London. And I think this is incredibly dangerous for black because g4, h4, g5, h5, you get a lot of attacking chances, especially in blitz. Definitely consider this line as well. So you know, next time this position happens, I'm not going to go knight b5. I'm going to go e3, knight f3, and I'm going to strive to put the knight on e5. If they take, reach this position, and you can still go knight e5. You can go h4 as well, and then knight e5. If they go knight e4, I can take, and take, and then go queen d2, and if they go rook b8 castle, here I can go c4. Another way to play this is, you see how flexible the Jobava London is. In this line, you're still playing for the attack. Still playing for the attack. Just doing it in a slightly different way. To bishop e7, you see g5. Queen e3, you're hanging onto the pawn. a5, h5, and you're playing for h6 or g6 here, still with elements of the attack. f6, you can go g6, and after h6, you can go here and play for this, f3. So it's such a rich opening. You kind of transition from attacking into more of a positional approach where white is better because constant back rank threats that will persist into the endgame. There's just so many ideas in Jobava London that are dangerous. e3, venomous move, very patient. So that's one move I'm going to keep in mind, and either having knight f3, knight e5 with these ideas, or even playing queen f3 here. And all of these are valid options. Here you can still go with knight b5 if you want. Here, because black's already played knight f6, it's much better in this position to take the bishop here than the position shown previously, because the knight blocks the f-pawn, thus making it less dangerous, because now black can't go f6 and e5, building a large center. h6, h3, using a London idea. And if knight h5, you can always go bishop h2 now. Here, white should be comfortably better. This is essentially a very good London for white. White can play c3, bishop e2, bishop h2, castles, and queen b3, and maybe a4, c4. Whereas black may try to strive for e5, and black always has to worry about d6 pawn. So there's so many good options after e3, and you can experiment with all of these in your blitz games. Knight f3, bishop b4, yet another line. And this move is quite challenging because black wants to go knight e4. So bishop d3, maybe a lot of people would play this. And what's interesting is you can just castle. And after doing this, and you go rook b1, and say they castle, you can already have a trap where you go, okay, this is the Greek gift trap, where after here, 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 you can take back, or you can go here, and then you can take, and after takes, then you can take. It's winning. So that Greek gift is like a cool trap you can also employ. So you can just see how many amazing lines there are in Jobava London, which is one of the main reasons I play this opening as my full-time blitz weapon. Bishop b4, it's like, okay, what if I ignore it? The genius of the line. A lot of people would play knight d4, and then a lot of people would take here. I can totally imagine this in a blitz game. Okay, a lot of people are going to just castle and get hit by this trap. Knight g5. And you know, hey look, if they go here, you're already mating. Say they go here, you just checkmate them, using the classic knight-queen checkmate pattern. So they have to go here, which is already not, and then after this kind of thing is just crushing attack, and you're winning material on top. Yeah, so many options. I love this e3 move. It's more flexible than when I play it, isn't it? e3, bishop b4, so fun. And if they go knight e4, and then they take with the bishop, and they do this kind of thing, thinking they got an extra pawn, and then I go here, and yes, they did actually win a pawn here. They did actually win a pawn. Rook b1, knight b6, e4. I think if they just castle, they get hit by a similar sacrifice. Castling, I have e5, and there's ideas of the same sacrifice. So if they play this, then I go h3, and they can go knight c4. Essentially, this is like a long-term sacrifice. I'm sacrificing a pawn for great pieces, and open file against the bishop. Takes c3, b6. It's just a long-term sacrifice. Here, if you're comfortable playing a long-term sacrifice, this is a great line as well. I love the ideas here. Doubling on the file. Here, they could take. You get a very harmonious position like this, and clearly the sacrifice pawn is well worth it, because you get this knight on e5, and you can start going g4, even trade the rooks. You go here, you always have bishop h7, let's see. White is better in this position despite being down a pawn, because black simply can't do anything. There's too many weaknesses on light squares, so another just amazing pawn sacrifice line, starting with if they go knight e4. All that is assuming they go knight e4. If they don't, you can always just castle, and you can go with knight e5, and go with knight e5 here, get a nice position, and white is just a little bit better because they have that space advantage. This was a very deep opening dive. I think in the future I'm definitely playing e3. And sorry for all this tangent. The game itself that we played was very short because the opponent ditched. But just taking the opportunity to hypothesize about what would I play instead in the next game has taught me a lot about Jobava London. And once again, I have faith in this opening. I think it's a winning weapon up to a very high elo. Perhaps even national master or FIDE master levels. Definitely can be used not just as a blitz weapon, but over the board weapon as well to win games. It can be weaponized, trust me. Well, that's it. That's my rant. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed this very deep dive on Jobava London.